It's easy to think you need to be loud to get respect as a leader, but Steve Jobs quietly proved otherwise. He could present with authority from the stage to the boardroom without an extroverted energy. So I'm going to show you the exact strategies he used and how you can use them to influence your teams with calm authority. Let's start with how Steve Jobs used his calm, natural, and even quiet presence to capture the world at one of the biggest product launches of all time. The whole thing is a masterclass that works on stage and the boardroom.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything.
He starts with personal stakes, so you know that you're listening to an invested human, not a talking head, and he sets the frame with calm confidence. Contrast this to Steve Ballmer from Microsoft, clearly trying the opposite approach using loud, extroverted energy.
Who said sit down?
Not only is it odd, the content doesn't compel either. So we are going to model Jobs today in a framework I call AMP or AMP to present the way that makes people lean in and take notice rather than this.
So what is the $64,000 question?
Okay, so if you're naturally quiet, you've probably tried to borrow the wrong energy. You watch a loud, high output leader and think, maybe I need that. More volume, more animation, more force. But that's not executive presence, that's performance. What you actually want is high control energy. And that's what Steve Jobs modeled on stage and at the table. At the iPhone launch, he frames the moment.
Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along.
That line isn't hype. It's a stake in the ground. It says, this matters, pay attention. And that set the frame first habit wasn't just for keynotes, it's how he ran conversations. Here's a way to think about it. Quiet presence isn't low energy, it's directed energy. You direct the room by controlling 3 levers: attention, meaning, and pace. AMP. First, attention. Decide what the room looks at. Most meetings start with people trying to earn attention. They open with a deck. They walk you through. They dump context to prove they've been busy. Jobs hated that because it turns the room into an audience. The meeting becomes performative instead of productive. That iPhone launch is a great example because he sets the table so well you can't look away. Not, here's the cool thing we made, but with stakes. Next, meaning. Compress the complexity into one shared interpretation or story. This is where you stop being quiet and start being dangerous because you could translate the complexity into one sentence. Jobs' mantra was focus and simplicity. Simplicity is hard because you have to get your thinking clean enough to make it simple. Meaning compression isn't explain more. It's name what this means, then name what it isn't. In a 1998 interview, Jobs explained that simplicity is harder than complexity because it takes discipline. So the move here is to get your thinking clean enough to make it simple. Then you're positioned to command the room because everyone will get it. Next, pace. Make the room match your tempo. This is the multiplier. This turns clear into commanding. At MIT Sloan, Jobs gets a question and sits in silence for 20 seconds before answering. Most leaders would panic and fill in the gap. He doesn't. 20 seconds. Another moment at Apple, people were talking over him. He doesn't raise his voice. He waits, and the room quiets. That's pace dominance. You don't chase attention, you let the attention return to you. So here's how to amp your presence without changing your personality. You don't get louder, you get harder to ignore because everything has intent. Here's how to use the amp sequence tomorrow. Walk in and run this exact order. First, attention. Here's the decision. Second, meaning. Here's what it means. Then third, pace. Pause and hold it. Let the silence do its job. Because the room doesn't follow the loudest person, it follows the person who controls the frame, compresses the meaning, and sets the tempo. That's quiet command. That's high energy for executives. It's not volume, it's control. Conversation that follows now is your directed frame, and you don't need the Ballmer in the moment.
Develop developers, 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 developers.
And now that you have control of the narrative, you are able to translate the one story everyone needs to understand, so alignment moves you forward. This video will help you make that process super simple. Watch it next.